The Giants finally seem to have a starting quarterback in Russell Wilson, who they signed to a one-year deal worth $21 million with $10.5 million guaranteed. The Giants already signed Jameis Winston earlier to a deal as well. So now they have Jameis Winston, they have Russell Wilson, and Tommy DeVito, of course, as well. Do you think this closes the door to Shedeur Sanders number 3 overall? And 2, what did you think of the signing for the Giants?
I think as far as them getting better right now, it is a good signing. Russell Wilson, it didn't end well, obviously, the 5-game losing streak, but he had the 11th best passing grade in football last year. He was the best deep passer in football last year. And you look at what the Giants' issues in the passing game were, outside of Malik Neighbors making the occasional play, Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, whoever it was, they weren't able to throw the football downfield accurately. That's something Russell Wilson can still do even at his age, right? So they certainly improve with Wilson and even with Jameis Winston currently as their backup, but I don't think it takes them out of the Sanders conversation at all. I think you have an easy avenue where, okay, you've got Russell Wilson starting, you've got kind of that bridge, you got a guy who doesn't, he can be there so Sanders doesn't have to start on day one, and, people have mentioned now, well, would there be a logjam? Well, it's never anything wrong with having quarterback depth, and I think in that scenario, you might see Jameis Winston get traded before he even plays a regular season game with the Giants, so I don't think Sanders should be off the table at all. If they feel like he's a long-term solution, then they should still select him third.
Yeah, I'm looking at this right now. I think it's a good contract, honestly. You're paying Russell Wilson $21 million, like I said. That places him 20th in the NFL league-wide. So he's a below-average salary for a starting quarterback. And like I said, I think he is around an average starting quarterback. So you can get him at that price. It's actually not bad at all. So I do like the contract. I am more pessimistic on you about Shedeur Sanders going to New York at number 3 now. I just don't think it's going to happen anymore after signing Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston as well. So I just think one of two things. One, maybe they have some intel that maybe Cleveland might be taking him at number 2, and they go, okay, well, we got to get someone in there. So we signed Russell Wilson. Or they're just not interested in Shedeur Sanders, and they'd rather, go with a veteran option. Because we both know that, Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, they're on their last legs right now in New York. And maybe they would rather, take a veteran approach this year with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. And then maybe next year, if they keep their jobs, then they take a rookie quarterback as well. So I think maybe they're more willing to maybe not gamble, but take a guy like Russell Wilson who they know what they're getting in him. Whereas Shedeur Sanders, you're always gambling on a rookie quarterback. Maybe it goes really horribly wrong, and then you're both out of jobs. So I think this is more of the safe approach for New York, and maybe they just didn't love Shedeur Sanders as much as other people thought they did. So I don't think they're going with Shedeur Sanders number 3 now.
The odd part is by signing Russ, who the Browns were also looking at and met with, is that they may have backed the Browns into their own corner, right? Because right now they're just sitting on Kenny Pickett at quarterback and nothing else, and they have yet to sign any other veteran options as well. We know Aaron Rodgers isn't going there. Could it be somebody like Joe Flacco going back? But now all of a sudden, they may have backed the Browns into a corner at that number 2 spot where they feel like they almost have to take Shedeur Sanders themselves, or they're going to be really forcing it. They own the 33rd pick in the draft. They're picking at the top of the second round. Maybe they trade up from that spot. Maybe they take somebody at 33. But the Browns, I think, actually, without Russ, they come out of this maybe as the biggest loser of all of it, because now you really go, what do you do? Can you really walk into next year with that roster that already has plenty of flaws in it with Kenny Pickett as your starting quarterback? Yeah. That's really a question that you have to ask right now. Even if you were to take someone in the second or third round, decent chance that Pickett would still start over that person at least at the beginning of the year. So the Browns are in a tough spot at number 2, and I think this entire top 5 may have gotten shaken up by this.
It's going to be really interesting to see, because I think the draft really does start at number 2 overall. Cam Ward had his pro day yesterday. Tennessee was in attendance. They seem to be chumming it up a lot with Cam Ward, so it feels like Cam Ward is going to be a Tennessee Titan. But at number 2 and number 3, I have no idea what's going to happen in the NFL draft right now, which makes it a very, very exciting NFL draft right now.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like and subscribe the video. And if you don't have a PFF Plus subscription, you can get one to see all the premium stats that we talked about here on the show, plus the expert betting and fantasy advice over at subscribe.pff.com. The description is also right below, so if you are not a PFF Plus subscriber, you become one today.